I do web videos. I do video lecture presentations for my students where I actually record all my lectures that I would do in a face-to-face class using Camtasia. And these have been great, and I've gotten excellent feedback from my students. They just love these lecture videos. It really helps them understand the material. And I actually put my little face up in the corner so they see me talking to them. They see me waving my hands and getting animated. And I think they really like that, especially when they're looking at my PowerPoint and I'm handwriting on my PowerPoint and there's a whole bunch of numbers and graphs there, and they're like, oh, I'm so frustrated. But then they look up in the corner and they see me smiling, saying, it's okay, it's tough, I know, but we'll get through it.
Before I started teaching online, I was really concerned about the level of engagement that I would feel interacting with my students, right? You feel a connection, a sense of immediacy when you're dealing with somebody face to face, and I was concerned that when I started teaching online that I wouldn't have that same feeling of connection and immediacy. But I was wrong. In some cases, I actually find that my interactions with students online are more authentic and deeper and richer than my face-to-face interactions. And the big reason for that is, like, when you're dealing with your students in the classroom, you're there for, I have 2 hours and I have to cover this much material, and I'm at the front of the room, I'm the font of wisdom, and they're all sitting in their neat little rows and following their scripts, right? And that really does not permit a whole lot of back and forth and a whole lot of flexibility. I mean, you don't have the time to follow up interesting tangents and really, pin down what students are interested in talking about and wandering and, covering interesting digressions in the face-to-face class. Just isn't time for it. But online, there's room for that, right? People who are shy and don't want to put themselves forward because they don't want to stand out, they're worried about that, they feel comfortable communicating online. I feel comfortable taking the time to respond to whatever questions students have. I can get a back and forth going because I'm not standing at the front of the class. I mean, as I said, my initial fears about not engaging with my students, not feeling that connection, they're just completely wrong.
I like to use online rooms in my online classes because communication is one of the big challenges in online classes. Email loses a lot of richness, and students often have difficulty articulating questions, and I have difficulty articulating answers in email, whereas a 2-minute online discussion can clear up things that might take days by email. Collaborate is my first choice for reaching out with students. It's the best communication tool. I'm working with Kosser, an online student. We're going to do an online Collaborate session in Desire to Learn's online room. And I'm going to be teaching her basically the first lecture of CS250, which is a discussion about the nature of mathematics and logic. Hi, Kosser, this is Doug. Glad you could make it.
Yes, hello, Professor Jones. My question would be, what type of formal notation would be used to represent what we are talking about?
Contingencies are going to be statements that will have a variable in it.
So, at each price level, we're going to have more and more roses. So we can actually create a new demand curve.
Okay.
So our new equilibrium results in a increase in the price and an increase in the quantity of roses that are demanded. Exactly.
Okay. All right, that makes a lot more sense. I just wasn't understanding that the graph moved. Okay.
You feel a little bit better?
I think I get it now.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. That's what I'm here for. I'm glad you could Skype in and clear that frustration up. So Josh Ann, I was curious, how does Skyping with me compare to going into an actual instructor's office hours?
I feel like the Skype sessions that I have been doing have been really useful because when I have a specific question, I just call her at the times that she is available, and I'm able to get my question answered relatively quickly so that I can move on with my homework or my assignments.
Instructors who've not taught online before tend to think that they lose that interaction with students that you normally get in the classroom, that one-on-one, being able to verbally communicate. But that's not necessarily true whatsoever. With Skype, with Collaborate, with Google Hangouts, there's a lot of opportunity for an instructor to engage with their students one-on-one, talk to them, see them, and be able to help them. And it helps the students too to know and see the face of their instructors. And it makes them feel, I think, more enabled and engages them in the course a lot more as well.
Communicating with students has several layers. So there's the email, the direct kind of communication, and you do a lot of that where you're dealing one-on-one with students. But I also use a discussion board, and some of them are really focused discussions where they have to be looking at a topic and then sharing their feelings about it and talking to each other about it and commenting on each other's discussions. But I also have an open discussion board where if a student has an issue or doesn't know how to approach a problem or whatever, they can post, is anyone having trouble with this? This part's hard. They can post that in the discussion topic, and then students are encouraged to read those discussions on a regular basis so that if somebody can formulate an answer for them before I can get back to them, they can help each other. And I've actually played around with this next term, I'm going to try it, actually giving some points to those people who step up and help the other people, because I think that maybe that will encourage them to get in there and look at it. Online teaching can be very one-on-one, student-teacher, and so you have to come up with a lot of ways to build into the course where there's student and student interacting. Because in a classroom they would help each other. If I have 25 students in a classroom, I can't get around to everybody, so they have to work together, and I want them to do that online as well.
In interacting with my online students, I tend to reply to their emails or requests within 24 hours, and I feel that it's vital for the students to have that support within that amount of time, because then it shows them that, I really care about their success.
Connecting to your students is one of the most important things that you can do in an online class, and you do that through your voice. And it's little simple things like telling them to have a great weekend, telling them, oh my gosh, it looks like we're in for another soggy weekend. It's those little teeny tiny things. They're really short and they're subtle, but it allows you to connect with your students in a really personal way. And I guess that's what I mean by voice, is just using your voice, your personality, and embedding it into the way that you communicate with your students.